the exercise of that belief, whether that belief it can for do with religious belief. You can choose for be a Christian, a Muslim, a Hindu, any kind of religion that you believe in, any kind of faith. You get right for get right to spiritual consciousness. Government never dictate that to you. It should not be imposed on you. And your decision for hold on to your right to conscience and right to expression, for express that conscience, including the right to free speech, you exercise in a way that is not pleasing to the government has no right under the law for criminalize you or make you any less of a citizen. These are universally accepted principles, both in law and for the purposes of human existence. Because these are rights that are given to you by nature, by the fact that you are a human being created, if we can use it, created by God and placed in this universe. Human authority, government do not exist for make people their lives miserable. No, governments exist for make sure that people live the purposes of human existence, the right to life, the right to decent living, the right to dignified personhood. And that includes dignified personhood includes the right to private life. And what does that right to private life? For, get a family and raise a family of your choice. Even now, you see how those rights have been, the right to, personal life, dignified personal life, the right to life and personhood has been extended now. You get this universal discussion around even sexuality rights for decide how you have to exercise your sexual appetite. So these are to the extent to which societies around the world are aspiring for more free environments where their citizens could live and exhibit their human potential and the decision of how they want to enjoy their own life, including how they want to engage and in conversation that determine the kind of life, the kind of society, the kind of environment in which they live. Now we don't go to the point, or we even develop rules and regulations of how for even treat your own environment, how for cut stick, we stick not for cut, how for protect certain forests, when are trees, because in the final, even trees have life. They breathe oxygen in exchange for carbon dioxide, from human beings. This symbiotic relationship is impossible without respect for one another. Respect for life, respect for the environment, respect for animals, respect for everything that is within this universe, including human beings. So the purpose for the government for regulate this space and make sure, say, whether a plant, an animal, a stone, a mountain, a river, all of these should exist and flow naturally. Because when you obstruct the flow of the natural correlation of the environment and anything within it, it causes other things. This is the mudslide, landslides, because these are all what we call infractions, not the aberration of the natural order of things. So the same way, when it comes to human beings and the reason why we elect people, and have to make them protect we rights, we interest and respect we as human beings. So when you get to a situation where a government has nothing else to do but to think about what kind of secret operations that has to be done for police and for contain particular set of citizens who they think are exercising their God-given right to conscience, right to expression, right to free speech, then what you have is a violation of the natural order of the society, natural order of things. And this is what we're talking about. And this is what we talk about now. We talk about a situation where the government has reduced itself to a criminal entity, to a criminal organization, and not only a criminal organization that is committing crimes of looting public money, but also hiring foreign entities to provide them with tools, extraordinary technology, not for developed scientific research in the country. We will produce machines, encourage people with talents. We get very great young men. For example, you look around the country, you get farmers like the Kabia farm, the women in Kabbalah who are producing onions, farmers that produce rice. Tractors are not there. Fertilizers are not sufficient. Even the money for fertilizers that goes to the agricultural ministry is stolen. First, they will get this seed program in the agriculture ministry. Even seeds they're not available for farmers. You get all of this. Now you take $5 million, not for build. You get what you call how they call it, DSTI, before you buy technology for develop a scientific research agenda that will produce scientists for the country, people with knowledge that will participate in the production of knowledge within this technological age. What you are doing is to go and buy cyber weapons for crack into people in communication, for sit down and listen, whether Anes by Kuruma don't talk to somebody, or Chernobyl don't talk to this, or Sabura Kamara don't talk to this other person, or thing. I mean, what do you have to, what profit does that add to national development, to human progress? Una famous foolish expression, human capital development. How has this contributed to human capital development, human resource development? You buy technology for undermine the environment that allow debate, public debate. Without public debate, there will not be the opportunity for public conversation, public growth. Human development is absent. You don't go get any society where they develop and human beings progress and exhibit their full-blown potential, including the potential to produce technology, produce and contribute to economic development, whether as private citizens or as public officials, if the free speech environment is narrowed. And you cannot tell us that the payments to Cognite and Nostra enterprises are meant to create an environment that will support human progress. No, no. This is a police state. You are basically buying technology to undermine the freedom of citizens to be able to participate in a conversation that will shape public policy in their own interest, in the national interest, in the interest of collective development, in the interest of human progress. So this kind of investment is an investment that is against national development, national progress, economic growth, and economic development, and human development. Now that you invest with money into. And this is a crime. It is both corruption, and at the same time, it's a crime against the human development of the country. So it brings us to the question of Cognite. Who is Cognite? So Cognite basically now a company within Israel. In if I go to the African Express website, when I find out, so we attach a report published in December 2021 by Meta. The report then called an threat report on the surveillance for hire industry. This report was released on December 16, 2021. And three of the authors they work for Meta in California. One of the authors' name is Mike Divlyansky. He's head of cyber espionage investigations at Meta. Meta, I know, of course, Meta and the company we get Facebook, Twitter, and stuff like that. Now, they don't sell Twitter now, but WhatsApp, I think, then they get Facebook and WhatsApp. Most of these social media apps will use, including WhatsApp. And the second person who been a part of this investigation, we produce this report, now David Agranovich. He's the director of threat disruption Meta. And the third person, Nathaniel Gleischer, head of security policy. So again, the title of the report is Threat Report on the Surveillance for Hire Industry, published, as I say, on December 16, 2021. This report, by the way, what I read from, so it did at the African Express website. I know, say, for the most part, they take advantage of the fact, say, we people in a salon not get time or not get the patience for it, apart from the fact that we get the majority of the population will not benefit from higher education. But even those who are educated, including professionals, enjoy football, soccer, and other things, including for party but they have less time to read. So what are the summary of this report? These people when they investigate and find out, say, what they call surveillance for hire, companies and they we don't make them sound like mercenary, like them force them where they go hire Sandline or that South African mercenaries of conflict war. Now, so now the companies and they at the way develop cyber technology and again people them and organizations where their own role again are like cyber mercenaries. You hire them for can help you fight the cyber war, cyber warfare. So in this report, the summary of the report here, these investigators from Meta, they say the global surveillance for higher industry, this group of people and now this company we talk about, companies and don't they, wait and they for hire. And they are called this global surveillance for hire. Like Sujaman no more. But the only thing here, they use technology as part of their warfare. Cyber technology as part of the warfare. Cyber warfare. And these, it has grown into an industry, a whole business, a whole conglomeration, like enterprise, and they don't develop. Various companies in different parts of the world. A whole mercenaries, cyber mercenary companies. And when you look at them, are experts. So somebody go don't work for them big Microsoft and Defender, and then they invent some of this technology. Now they don't transfer that knowledge to companies that with their own role and for fight cyber wars. Like soldier man then, computer soldier man then. You can imagine computer armies. The industry targets people to collect intelligence, manipulate and compromise devices across the internet and accounts across the internet. So the war in the fight and cyberspace, cyber warfare. I did the war day. So in fact, for Facebook or Meta in this report, then called them while these cyber mercenaries often claim their services only target criminals and terrorists, when they set up these companies, by the way, not to hidden companies, are legal companies, and they put them and say, no, we did no more for help government for protect themselves from criminals where they attack government infrastructure, banks, cyber warfare for help government and prevent. Then it makes it a legal thing they do. But when Meta investigate and find out, say, these companies are, it's a months-long investigation. Then they carry out several months in the course of a year, 6 months, 3 months investigation. Then can find out, say, our months-long investigation concluded that targeting is in fact indiscriminate. They find out, say, their company, although in the claim say they do legal thing, most of the operation the way they do now. That for target people them, we government then they against, and then people they include journalists, dissidents, critics of authoritarian regimes, then people they criticize bad government dictators and like Madabiu now, families of opposition members and human rights activists. So we then check the finance, all the people that way these companies that don't target at different parts of the world. Now either journalists them or people that way disagree with governments, government opposition people there, or critics, citizens the way they criticize bad government, or their own family members there, or other human rights activists there. So when Facebook carry out this investigation, they identify 7 companies where these 7 companies are with the part of this operation, and find out that 7 companies don't targeted people across the internet in over 100 countries. When them check, they find out, say, oh, Facebook don't target them company, they don't target about people that in different journalists, human rights activists, over 100 countries in the world. So, and then people and they will then target include people who get Facebook accounts and WhatsApp and other things, and that make themselves detect. So basically, what did Facebook, what did they do? Meta do? They decided to share their findings with security researchers and other platforms and policy makers, and they issue, seize, and they warn them company as well, left for target for customers there. People who get accounts on they notify them, like how we said, we will publish the document. And this conversation is similarly, this is what they do so now, what Meta themselves don't do for inform the young people then of some of the things that we then also find out. We said what we find out, say that this, so now that we said they do so. And also alerted people who believe, and they also inform the people and say they don't target. Remember, that make you find out, say you even get Facebook account now, Facebook, they force you. If they find out say your account really active, they force you for add multi-factor authentication. If you don't do one, they block your account. Make sure say you don't put the security features, nobody will hack you. You know, go through for protect people there. In fact, one of the ways that they will make enable hacking to my Facebook account, because there was multi-factor authentication. When Cognite try for hack my account from Freetown and other places, some of them will not succeed. Now, because already we had gotten an alert from Facebook about how to develop multi-factor authentication and add security, including other things. So now, I don't go read the report all, but I will just show now the companies that we identify now. Yeah. The companies that include the number one company where they put at this report, they call it Cobwebs Technology. They find out the Cobweb, then they carry out surveillance chain phases, reconnaissance, and engagement. If I read the report, they see all the patterns, how did they do, how the hacking they take place. Then they first make account, then be party. After that, they be, take to the point where we starting to send bug on your phone, like a message for say click here, where you click here, stuff like malware and spyware in. They did it to my phone. I will tell you now, I can't share my own experience, but I just want to identify the companies and way Meta identify. Not to will the company where Salome they pay money, they under this list. The first company na Cobwebs Technology. So Meta say when they investigate, they removed about 200 accounts which were operated by Cobwebs and its customers worldwide. Then find out say Cobwebs don't get about 200 accounts now, Facebook and other social media platforms within the operate, where they target people with. They use for target people then. And this company, this firm was founded in Israel with offices in the United States and sells access to its platforms that enable reconnaissance across the internet, including Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Twitter, Flickr, public websites, and dark websites. In addition to collecting information about their targets, the accounts used by Cobwebs customers also engaged in social engineering to join closed communities and forums and trick people into revealing personal information. Our investigation identified customers in Bangladesh, in Hong Kong, the United States, New Zealand, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Poland, and other countries. In addition to targeting related law enforcement activities, we also observed frequent targeting of activists, opposition politicians, and government officials in Hong Kong and Mexico. Cobwebs. Now, see what Meta say about it. We did the investigation, find out. Now, the second company, na Cognite, I ended at the list now. So, Meta, December 2021, I'll go back at the date. This report says so. I mean, it in our website. We'll share them back. December. Anybody want this report? You can message me, either Facebook or WhatsApp. Many of you get WhatsApp. Get me WhatsApp. Or just I will post this one with various WhatsApp groups. That when I get out, share it with other people again. The article right and this report way Meta right. This is reported and published December 16, 2021. Now remember, Salome did not begin July 7 and they begin pay Cognite for this kind of technology. Now Meta by December identifies this company there. They list 7 companies. The first company, I don't tell you that. The second one at the list, Cognite. So what did I say about Cognite? They say we removed about 100 accounts on Facebook and Instagram, which were linked to Cognite. Cognite, the name trade, in fact, a company will be not get that name with them called WebInt Pro. WebInt Pro and its customers. This firm is based in Israel and it sells access to its platform, which enables managing fake accounts across social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and VContact, and other websites to social engineer people and collect data. Our investigation identified customers in Israel, Serbia, Colombia, Kenya, Morocco, Mexico, Jordan, Thailand, and Indonesia. Their targets, the targets of Cognite, included journalists and politicians around the world. So I just want to read more as Cognite. I want to remember Cognite and them pay. Part of the company, the way the government pay, then no more than receive over $2 million in the sample transaction. So even when Facebook, Meta don't produce this report, and one of the dangerous companies then, where they carry out this kind of operation, government of Sierra Leone still they can pay money to them up to July 2022. So the other companies include Black Cube, number 3, number 4, Blue Hawk, Beltox, number 5, Citrox, number 6, number 7, a company where they identify within China, but they don't even know a name. It's an unknown entity in China where they identify, where they carry out this operation. So first, this don't happen. So what do we experience? We don't investigate now. So at the time we Meta, they carry out this investigation for find out about this situation. We self at the same time they investigate as alone because we don't notice cyber operations against our own website first. When I remember all this time they post our website in the hack website, they put them down, they put them up, put them down, they put them up. And the time we begin investigate. And sometimes we go tell us we go for investigate for see the cyber operations. So we don't notice and identify cyber intel operations against African Express. So then we investigate the Bank of Salone because we say no more, oh, we don't Cognite in a Salone. You don't understand what there's cyber intelligence companies that did a Salone from B-Talk. So we wanted to see also whether there are financial transactions. How much government don't pay for this, apart from the fact that we know they don't contract them. So that is the evidence here. So the question here, a company, and not to say no more Meta no more investigate them wire. Now I will go back, when I go back to the African Express website, this document they did. But what did we find out? We find out, say, internationally, even the US government don't take action against their companies. Put them, the NSO group, they call it. You know, remember Pegasus, a whole research project also being exposed, how government they hire NSO and these cyber intelligence tools for target journalists around the world. That report is out there. But where they didn't here in a saloon, with the fishing in a far place there, that's where they happen, and then dangerous Middle East, Latin American countries. When we tell them, say, what you they hear in a radio about Pegasus, about all of this, not a rumor within a saloon. And in one of the top companies, the leading companies where they carry out some of these cyber intelligence companies, Mother they don't pay them money. Not to them say the Bank of Salone record. They would not publish the evidence. This not to technology we then buy for protect citizens, the technology we then buy for attack certain citizens. We have been targeted potentially with that technology. So in Europe, in fact, in early March 2022, March way past, so 2022, the European Parliament set up a committee for investigate this issue about how government they hire these cyber companies there for target opposition, for violate citizens' rights, including journalists. That committee is there. And we intend for forward, me personally, at the right letter in my own hand, document the evidence what I don't collect about this and report to the European Union Parliament and the European Union CSF and tell them who now will they fund this government, because the European Union gives a lot of money to Sierra Leone, including funding our elections. For making them know say that already the government is using cyber technology for narrow for target citizens in the country, including myself, who is a citizen of Sierra Leone. And this is what they say, the records are here. The government, so the United States, Europe, everybody is concerned about this situation. They don't ban some companies, and those who check the news, it's out there. So basically, we find out, while concerns over spyware technology increased in Europe and United States, we own investigation. This would better now. We own investigation, find out, say, the government of Salone, government officials in Sierra Leone had already transferred millions of United States dollars in payments to Cognite. We had already know that Cognite and how they are listed internationally. And we are using cyber intelligence operations to target political opponents. We discovered, we begin notice this at least in April 2022. Now we'll see the intense attack on African Express. Remember, by April, there's small demonstration that happened at Freetown. Now remember, April, that day the government and the parliament intensify, begin ramp up all kind of distraction from small protests. Then we can talk about within them protests and from teacher strike, teacher solidarity movement now, women's protest now, all of these protests. Then a separate discussion. Where can they? How and the purposes and how those ones feed into August 8 to 10. Now different thing. And the focus on the cyber intelligence now with the evidence in front of we. So here, these cyber intelligence operations, we African Express noticed the intensity of target by April, around the same time when the protesting they happened. And this was really around the second week of April, after a conference we organized. Now, yeah, last year I held a conference. Many of you who are following my work signed up for that conference who have been doing at the university. Now, the second week after that conference, now we begin notice this intel operation from targeting my own communication. In fact, by middle May, my phone will only begin receive the spyware messages then push directly into the calendar section. And some of them also include the assigned people, maybe they call me randomly from different parts of the world, including with different numbers. They, disturbing phone calls. Regularly, you will think they are just ordinary spam calls. I mean, they record spam calls, what they call spam calls, random phone calls from companies. Some they just call them and listen. So they call and try for sell you technology, try for sell you information like advertisers. But in actual fact, they're part of the information collection process assigned. Since I post on Facebook for say, they publish about Cognite. Now the phone calls, they're all on the phone don't cease, they don't reduce, they don't cease. I was getting those phone calls 10, 20, 50 in a week. I got to publish all the numbers of phone calls that we've received, me and other colleagues of mine, and people who I talk to. This exclude messages coming into my phone. Directed around May to June, towards the end of May to June, I begin to receive these spyware messages on my phone. Where the time they say, oh, somebody they hack your phone, they look your message, they try to get into you iCloud and stuff like that, because I use Apple technology for the most part. So we may not notice this. So we begin to observe the ramping up of these strange messages, unusual communication, unusual phone calls, random spam phone calls coming to my phone, and all of that. All of a sudden, they've ceased. Since December 5 to now, we will announce, oh, Cognite, we'll call Cognite, I posted on Facebook, now the phone call they reduce. We got for drill into that in the second publication. Mr. Go for intent, Mr. Go write a personal testimonial statement documenting my experience with this situation. So in the article here, we reported African Express say we discovered cyber surveillance operations had been initiated at least in April 2022 against African Express, and this continued into late September 2022. September 11, now they then do the climax. They hack into a Facebook account. I mean, they try for hack into my Facebook account and other social media platforms we control. In fact, they commandeer the Twitter account, because when we set up the Twitter account way back in 2014, we'll not be doing any double factor authentication. We just left, and so we had not used our Twitter account for the most part after 2014. Now, recently, now when Parliament came, and they will begin activate them because we needed to use it in a particular way. But we have mostly used Facebook because we find out that most of our audience in Africa are more into Facebook, increasingly, especially in places like Sierra Leone. More people are then at Facebook than they at Twitter, and now increasingly they get Twitter. So now for the outside, we just repost with articles, never use our social media Twitter accounts for direct engagement until around June. Now we begin, when we focus on Parliament, and when we begin. So at the time of this attempt for hack, and they even commandeer, they hack into the Twitter account and change even the username from African Express to African P. All of that is documented. So with the help of Twitter, in 24 hours, we will get access to a Twitter account again. And several attempts for signing into my own email. I get a Yahoo mail that I've been running for the last 20, I would say at least from 2002 to now, almost 20 years email account, personal email account that they try to hack into. And we up to December, up to end of November, they try to do that as well for, So this is why some people even send me emails. I don't even reply to some of them because there's already an effort. They assign some people that say, well, I look for an IP address where they use. So that's what they say. But Without revealing too much, we noticed our investigation identified patterns, all of these patterns of attempts for hacking to it. We aggregate and we check them, we intuition system, we see that there are patterns resembling Cognite operations. And not only that, the fact that we don't identify payments of Cognite and Cognite's active presence in Sierra Leone, we concluded that Cognite itself is one of the companies that has been targeting us. Now, who are involved? You should not be surprised that some of your opposition politicians are aware of this. In fact, by April, some of the opposition people try for even, they went as far as cloning my Facebook account, Mataluna Today, created what looks like a post that came from me, and then share and even a platform, a WhatsApp group where I control. I told them, now I do this. This did not come from SLPP, it came from you, the rogue elements within the APC who are working with the regime. That was April, way back in April. So from April, we began to monitor this situation up to September 11, when the direct attack on our social media pages happened, and the unsuccessful attempt for hacking to my Facebook and my own personal email. And all of these patterns, when aggregated together, they relate to Cognite operations. So in this article, we reported that we had identified patterns, including repeated malicious attacks on the African Express website. Countless times our website has been put down, put down. Finally, they gave up on that in May. They made the last attempt for do that. We get all the statistics, which I hope we will publish in the subsequent articles on this situation. So the patterns, you find out, say, when they coordinate this situation, apart from just running IP addresses that have been identified in Sierra Leone, but also they do proxies that have been located mostly in Eastern Europe for the most part. You know, they say that this is still material, like how they say we effort on this cyber front is still ongoing. So the attacks were escalated in June, early June 2022. The early June, at the time of the spyware messages and begin to some of we phoned them, including my own, severally. But we will watch and we see the various messages where they invite you click now for clicks, but they come right into the calendar. Now the way they get calendar messages where they give you like an event. It announced like what looks like an event for me, prompting for click. That's how they were doing it. And when you click, automatically they have access to you, to your phone, and they can control and change. I can't talk about how they do when they have access to you. So these attacks, but we notice now June, around the time where they said and done, the LJ movement may happen at the same time. They intensify the attack on my telephone here. And this, my personal telephone communication, I use my own example. Some of I'm not going to talk about some of the other information, but I can't talk about how we identify some of the opposition people and whose names I will withhold for now until the publication. That will come. I will describe the scenario and I will read directly from the messages in my phone. So the malicious messages, this malicious message when they send to his spyware messages continued. We left to make it, they must see what did happen. Because we needed to observe the pattern and then match the pattern with other things that we don't know, with other people. We are also, we would explain, we said to consult other people, we experience in this domain, the compare notes. This kind of operation and this kind of software, who do you think has this? Will they generate this kind of spyware, this kind of virus? This is how we identify companies and the patterns. So as far as we are concerned, the dozens of malware and spyware messages that were sent randomly to my telephone and other colleagues shows patterns that are similar to how Cognite operates. And the fact that we already get this financial evidence with Cognite clearly show where it was coming from. So the malicious messages continued into September. Now, September 11, when they make the attempt for so I was okay, we don't get sufficient proof now because we don't get actual IP address of attempt and all of this. I've been posted. If I didn't at the website, you can want to look, even geolocation mapping, where a friend of ours, a dedicated follower, do, apart from the other work we still don't do now. So after this happened, we decided for add now security layers to the communication. So I stopped receiving the spyware messages when we blocked them around September 13, 2022. Not too long ago, September, October, November, 3 months ago. But still the spam messages then, phone calls then continue. Na my phone, random people, Indian sounding, Chinese sounding names, voices, and machine automated calls, all of this. You go feel say this a natural thing, and then people where they advertise thing. But since we announced Cognite, coincidentally, everything just disappeared because now the company realized we don't identify them, we don't see them, and we got to reveal some of this information. So some of it is being rolled back. If then they are posted, they're not beginning roll back, then try for pretend say no, then try for make pretend say no, not regular. 1 or 2 calls can carry in a day. I say, okay. They're doing that. So why are they saying this? This is not a dream. This is not far away. It's in Sierra Leone, in Freetown. Technology by Madabio and the rogue opposition allies. They know this. When they listen to me now, they know it's not true. I have gotten the complete side of it. So I tell them, I made them know. And my responsibility here is to tell you, the ordinary citizens, who want to get telephones, who want to engage, who want to communicate more, who want to know citizens. And this is not to put fear into you. It's to tell you that we can also expose. We investigations not just to track the finances, but to also see these kind of things that governments do. All of this when they do so, that for making them able for thief money, so that nobody no go know. It's part of the process to silence African Express, to silence other people who are speaking out, who are opponents of the government. And that they try to do. Some people might not be sophisticated enough for pay attention to some of these things. They will think it's natural. And that is how it is, and the danger that they. So how do you say? So in the course of we investigation, what we can find, and we also discovered that similar, this same way they target, this example I don't give, I don't talk profoundly, but the same way they target African Express, we can check now, we find out, say, oh, even some of the opposition, but not all of the opposition, some of the opposition politicians as well, especially the real opposition, because we don't talk about 2 types of opposition. Opposition within the opposition, not to that I talk about to the sellout one day, especially at the level of parliament, not to the one that they, in fact, they are complicit. When I don't let them pass the law, they know what's going to happen. We can find out, say, the same kind of surveillance operations were potentially being used to intercept and target other opposition people in the country where the government drive for. Know what they do, who they talk to, what kind of conversations they are having, and all of that. This is in addition to people the way they close to the way they report about them. And how we learn about this, now the fact that make a go now, or they check me. yeah. In somewhere around April and May, make a not just do. I get a couple of people who are in the opposition. 1 or 2, no, I would say 3 of them are even former ministers or part of the former cabinet. So they came to me just usually, like how people can just send me message no more, because I get sometimes I sit down and they get these fake people that they just send me fake document and say, hey, look, document of so. I just smile and laugh because they assume that information we publish and people number randomly they send me information, we take our publisher. Breaking news. So these people decide for contact me, say, they get concerned, they say, one of them company report to them, say, his phone, a man, in fact, he say, in phone, they don't hacker. I say, well, really? I say, how do I know say they don't hacker? And I think say the government sophisticated to that level. He say, yeah, I say, in fact, he noticed, say, them putting phone off, a phone go off, the way come on, they don't change how he save the names there. Like phone. Now I say, give me your phone number. They didn't give me. We run a check. But we've been already know, say, then why, in fact, those individuals who had contacted me, they were subject of our own investigation. That is what they did not know. Because we don't notice the opposition completely. We were investigating them at the time that they decided to make this lie. So they felt also they may investigate for find out if we get the capacity for understand how, if these things are deployed, if we go know. By the way, we can already see the transactions going. This now around April, we watch now for see how the process is going to complete. So they attempted to tell me that one of their colleagues has been hacked, which I could say, no, it's not possible. But anyway, we went back and forth. We decided to collect all the numbers of the people who are in the circle of this individual that is supposedly, allegedly hacked. And we run a check. We see that none of the numbers were compromised. Instead, in fact, like the reverse, we can find out. These people knew that some of their colleagues have been targeted. Then we want to find out from if we know, say some of them people there are under surveillance. The young colleagues in the opposition. These are the rogue elements within the opposition. And they also wanted to find out if we then deploy the same technology on we, if we don't know, say they spy on we are under surveillance. That is what they were trying to test. They were trying to test our ability to find out with knowledge of things. So we ended up, instead we begin collect more information from them. So we send we more numbers. When I send we more, they send we 5 number with this person they talk to. We talk to frequently, they send. When I send we 5 number of this other person, they send. So we kept on, then actually when the result, I was saying, no, they might investigate. But so far we not see any compromise. That's why we left it, they not ask you again, we not ask you. And then at the second time, with this group of people that within the opposition don't target we work. Sometime in around leading up to December, this is an example I don't talk about. These very people send one journalist where they near them for give me fake information as well. A document we then say in a document we involve corruption, we then go make an line document and send it to we. We check the document, the metadata of the document, we do a forensic check of the document, we see it's a fake. So they wanted us to publish a fake story with a fake document, thinking that that's how they operate. So they will say, see, Africans don't lie. So part of the effort of these rogue elements within the opposition was to discredit the African Express. Because they find out these are people that they work at the previous government. They have never been accused of corruption because they are working with Madabio, not because they were not corrupt in the past. But they moved on. They moved on and begin now for accusing young competent in the previous government of corruption, simply because they think that is the only way those people will be eliminated and disqualified from competing in the next elections. So then we'll get competitive advantage at the young party to take over them, the opposition party, and position themselves for 2028. So Madabio should work with them to take over their party. They will also help Madabio to rig the election so he can continue for a second term. That will make them ready for the next time to replace Madabio. That is the classical nature of state capture that has been. We don't talk about this severally. Then and now platform, me and Prince Kroma and other people, state capture, a popular phrase down at Salon. So what will they talk about? So this surveillance, cyber surveillance, and the operational mechanics of state capture. When state capture takes hold in a country, it becomes the operations of the political class. The political class, they resort to clandestine operations, criminal operations, secret operations. This is now what we call the secret operations of the state for target opponents of the regime. That's what I'm talking about. And when governments, they hire technology, they pay for technology, for surveillance people, they can also hire people, assassins, for assassinate people. If they're not able to get you through technology, or poisoning you, they will also hire assassins against their opponents. That's so group criminal regimes, and they behave all over the world. Kidnapping, poisoning, framing, setting up, and criminalizing opponents. A common habit. We get Rwanda, Burundi, Uganda, Colombia, all these repressive regimes. We now have Sierra Leone as part of that example. The government of Sierra Leone has no explanation why they will pay Cognite millions of dollars for cybersecurity intelligence technology, other than technology to harass, surveillance, and intimidate, and violate the private life of ordinary citizens who they believe are not in agreement with their own operation. So here we talk, say, we discovered in particular that security agencies likely initiated cyber surveillance activities targeting a few opposition politicians between April 2022 and August 2022, August leading up to the August 10 demonstration. They did that. Our investigation found that a few former ministers in Nkrumah's government and leading members of parliament were also aware. They know that cyber surveillance operations that targeted certain opposition politicians and journalists were being used by security agencies in Sierra Leone, but they never spoke about it. They never talked in the public. Not because they're afraid or they're not victims, no, because they know the victims, they know how it's happening. So this, we don't talk about so much about the danger of the cybersecurity law. We don't talk about how the cybersecurity law violates free speech. We don't talk about mother being a dictator. What we have not talked about is stuff like this. How money, public money, is being used by the government of Sierra Leone with the knowledge of parliamentarians and their consent and approval, because they passed the law, to buy technology, to use technology, to import technology, which is not being used for the protection of the lives and property of citizens, but for the violation of the rights, especially the right to privacy of ordinary citizens in the country. And again, when I go to the African Express website, you will see the transactions. You will see details of the transactions. $218,000, $218,841.82 transferred on July 7, 2021 to Cognite Technology Israel Limited. The purpose of the transfer was to pay for the purchase of cyber intelligence solutions for national security operation. 7th of July, again, the same time, $155,000 to the same Cognite Technologies Israel Limited, payment in respect of purchase for the same cyber security solutions for national security operation. The third one, $84,316.16. Fourth one, $218,841.82. $155,000, $310,000 on October 1, 2021. On 10 May 2020, imagine the report from Meta, Facebook. We didn't talk about Cognite, it did not happen. December. In May, 10 May 2022, $310,000. 18 July 2022, July we passed through, $630,000 in total. Here, sample transactions alone to Cognite, $2,081,000, $999, $2,081,999.80 to Cognite. This not a technology for add to the engineering department at Rubey College. It's not technology for develop computers and an IPAM. It's not technology to develop the labs at the College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences. It's not technology that went to Njala for develop the School of Agriculture. This is technology that was bought to undertake cyber intelligence operations by the ONS, the Sierra Leone Police, and other security agencies coordinated by Cognite. And we don't tell now, who are Cognite? Who is Cognite? And go back and read to the Udana Cognite. Cognite, we then give that millions of dollars. What in other people then say about Cognite? Now wait to Cognite listed as number 2 cyber mercenary company by Meta. Meta talks is the company where they carry out surveillance chain operation, reconnaissance, and engagement. They remove Cognite, the action with Meta take against where they investigate, and they remove, they find out, say Cognite been get 100 accounts, secret accounts there, when they run at Facebook and Instagram that were linked to Cognite and its customers. Then find out, say, the company based in Israel. Then they sell technology where they allow, where they enable the creation of fake accounts on social media, where the account then they can be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and other platforms. And those are accounts where the company they use for target, for social engineer, for create, like now when they send me message, oh, they want to hack into it, click this tier for clean, for stopper, as a clicker, so they don't get access to your data. Basically, then decide for target me because then things say after they don't sack Lara, they don't sack all them people and still do they publish. What do they do to this African Express? How do they get the information? They say the system they in hand. So it's possible say they don't hack. So now make Cognite try for attack we for know how they get information. So then believe say we now which man there for find information. So then go hire the young Ariobo. Now we don't catch the Ariobo, we don't expose her. They will have used that $5 million for provide water, provide electricity, provide better services, for even put subsidy on petrol. But that never don't do. Or build schools. Or buy computer and give student in a commerce or in Jala or IPAM or Frube College. Did they do that? No. So as far as Meta concerned, they say we then investigate and identify targets of this company now: Israel, Serbia, Israel, Serbia, Colombia, Kenya, Morocco, Mexico, Jordan, Thailand, and Indonesia. All them countries and a country we get some dangerous politics. They don't use then customers there of Cognite. And they don't use that Cognite technology for target journalists and politicians there around the world. 100 countries have been affected. Now this company, Naimada and the own government officials there, security people don't use against African Express. They don't pay money. Also, they use the same technology against other people in the country, including key opposition people that we know. So this again, as I say, not to them say, oh, or rumor, or suspect. It's here. The same way when I be the suspect say Fatima Biobin they receive money from government, they tell una say no, like money they spend, we work under snow and sweat. Until we publish information, say look the evidence now, you see, we're able to deny. The same way again when I be the suspect say then people then they hack, then they listen. Now we don't show and say not only suspect to say they hack, they don't pay money for that, look the money. And one of the companies where they pay a company where they know all over the world. So when Cognite they attack somebody, in fact, what it Meta say, the report then say Cognite, then find out say they don't abuse Meta's Facebook and Instagram platforms because they target people for collect intelligence, manipulate and compromise their devices and accounts across the internet. So the tactics where they use, then they create fake accounts there. So if you look in Facebook or Twitter, they find out say they get all kind, like now we would see accounts formed in December 2022 with different Kalukalu name and no more. So themselves they say it's a fake account. Fake accounts to search and view people's social media page for when they look at profile and see who that they talk to, who that you list. And your list of friends. Engaging with people using fictitious identities, fake identity. Yeah? Then they trick people and for make them give information. You can see that say, hey, they don't block me if they say, I send you code, give me for me they hack, they can do that day. We say they try to hack into your account. Prompt you for make you send code to them. Like some of them don't get that day. Somebody they try for log into your account. Later on, talk say that your account they block, so they give you for make you send her. We say that your account they try for log into. As you send the number, the code so number, pam, they don't kick you out of your account. So then do that. Engaging people using fake identities, then tricking people from giving away their account information by getting them to click on malicious links. In addition to collecting intelligence through dubbing, Cognite they can also break into computers, They get the technology and the ability for go into a computer and try for access, and cell phones, because they send something to you when you download that, like that, they don't get access to your whole machine, your whole equipment. They can control them remotely now. Anything they do, they know they can even program your computer for do something on your own. Sometimes they even engineer this without access to you. Then they even create backdoors, sophisticated technology. These are leading experts. And so you see, the government know that they hire. They know the dangerous companies when they hire. Then they are not fools. So they get all the sense for do bad, including how for thief, but they don't get the sense for develop the country. They don't get the willingness for doing. So when I say Mother be a fool man, and they say, oh, these politicians, they are just rogues, gangsters, but they know. They know what it takes to protect themselves, to go after people and make them find out this company. So Cognite get the capacity for compromise your telephone, even if you conscious of security, if you not take ten and get way for get around you. So that make a guy more to get in conversation there. Yeah, so I will learn from we own experience and how we um able for counter this. When I go to the African Express website, when I go read the article, a day, we will continue for write. We expect for write 2, 3, 4 more articles detailing some of these things. These are the first report. This report's an intro to what we found out. I want to tell people and thank you. We don't go 2 hours, 30 minutes, 35 minutes now. I think we don't get sufficient conversation. Make us see the chat room. And if I would take a couple of questions, I think I don't already lay out some of the premise of this conversation. And I hope say I'm able to get some information through. Now, I'm not going to read everybody's message. I will just look some of the messages them and see if there are questions. The opposition leaders in parliament are a disgrace to the menace. Musa Kamara. Mr. Ba, how can this information be used in any future investigation against Mada, his wife, and his government officials? Well, we got to pray to God for make we still say we get a government we willing. But from the look of things, the reason why make parliament decide to come after the African Express or the opposition politicians and basically largely in parliament came after it because they know say if they take action on Madabi and raise these issues in parliament, they're under obligation to deal with it in the future. And at this make like by turn, they take the country, say we don't can and thief after that, they will come out and come with thief. And now with this kind of information where African Express don't want to then say the evidence is right in the public, any future government will be forced to deal with the situation. So let us hope that we will end up having a president who will be willing to look into these issues because they have to be examined in the interest of the future, the generations of, who picking the way they can now. And that I'm hoping. I'm not too really. What I will guarantee you, Musa Kamara, is the fact that I will continue to do this work that I'm doing with all the strength and health permit. I will continue for devote my time for do this. Maybe the style of reporting will change, the pattern, the technique will change, depending on the kind of government that we have in front. But that me will guarantee you. Regarding what we will have to do to hold these people responsible, let's see what will happen. So our opposition leaders in parliament are a disgrace, Brahma, Yaya, Kalawa. These guys are in between government. Okay. Samuel Williams, absolutely. What else? Instead of providing sustainable electricity in Freetown. Okay. If Sierra Leoneans speak the truth, know the level by that leadership between APC and SLPP, they will stop supporting them. Okay. Then from speak the truth. We had a total of 94,000 where we expected more, but to God be the glory, to glory, okay. We are great. What a great analogy, Mr. Abdul Bah. It's funny how a full-grown man will take up a job by condemning and defaming the president and his government. It's not bad to oppose, but doing it with hatred in mind. Okay, that's a good view too. We'll read everybody in view. Let me just emphasize that whatever we have published about, I don't talk, repeat, what we say they don't pay money to Cognite is here. It's in the records. What we do not have is an alternative or anything for say not to say be. You don't understand? So spending taxpayers' money, the very same citizens who gave you the mandate to rule them, and after you butcher them like chickens in a slaughterhouse. Okay, as I say, most of these people expressing their views. Okay, this one they defend. Okay, if you believe the government get right for spend such amount of millions in buying technology for surveillance, a few identified people who they believe are opponents of the government, you have the right to that opinion. We are saying what we've identified and how we've been affected by that. And that's what I want to say, and with evidence too. You can also come with evidence. Government has a responsibility to come out and tell us. But until now, Nobody no ever knew that Cognite has been hired and paid this amount of money. You been know that before? No. We had to investigate and see it, and we were targeted by um, this kind of funding operation. Some will have you believe that all of these conversations, okay, good. Christian Cooper, you are talking like this about the platform. Yeah, indeed, we've been around for 20 years, and we continue. You must enjoy. Okay, so thank you, Christine, for responding to the said Lang's content. Yeah, see. Okay, there has been very good, interesting debate on the chat forum. That is good. This is democracy. I would Mr. Barr to tell us if the money was not used for the intended purpose or it's been misappropriated. So we requested $1 million for a trip to the UK, and so what? Don't talk to us as if we are idiots. Okay. If you believe, say, the president get right for going to Lebanon on the president say they go Lebanon on a honeymoon, he can go over $1 million and knock out with nothing back. Later on, they say he been go for on a much needed rest. So I think you have a right to defend what you want to defend. What did we know? We've shown Madabio in the first place when he was campaigning, he campaigned against frivolous public spending. He promised the people of Sierra Leone that he's going to close the leakages. He will reduce international travel expenditure. He will cut down on the loot of public money through international travel. Has he done that? No. In promise to the people, and what he has done is the complete opposite. So if you be no say he get for travel more than any president, he get for loot more money in per diems in the name of travel, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, and transfer money all over the place, including money to embassies and consulates that get stolen. If you be no say good, why you been put on a manifesto say good against that? So the question is, go back and read the president's manifesto, look at what he has done, and look at the two. And you ask a question, what did he promise? Has he lived up to? I'll tell you, the evidence is completely the opposite. So don't blame me for highlighting here. Blame the one that if you be say I be not talk say President Madabi can go $1 million na Lebanon, then choosing a lie. Aha, then a different conversation. But what I tell you say that okay, now they pay $5 billion on some of these operations. Are you happy that they are using this money just to buy technology to spy on citizens, as opposed to using that money to fund the public education in Sierra Leone and for develop scientific research in Sierra Leone? No. If you're glad for that, okay, then are your own choice. But what we have said here is basically information that is supported by documentary evidence. Okay, so I think there has been a pretty good conversation on the thread here, which tells us that this has been a very good conversation. As I say, I will not be able to read everything. African spirits in my opinion are just that anymore. Oh, I think I just talk about this other comment. So I have basically laid out the preliminary conversation on cyber surveillance in Sierra Leone. Key point would have to take away now the fact that it is no longer a rumor that the government has hired and is using cyber surveillance technology for target journalists and other opposition politicians in the country and outside of the country. There is evidence showing that monies have been paid out of the Bank of Sierra Leone to these companies. And until now, nobody has provided any evidence to the public for make we know say this kind of procurement has actually happened. And we raise the questions. At what point did government advertise And where did they advertise that they were going to spend such amount of money, public money, in the procurement of cyber technology for undertake cyber surveillance operations in Sierra Leone? What kind of cyber surveillance operations are they carrying out? Most importantly, did the procurement comply with the financial laws and regulations of the country? In addition to that, how did the government identify Cognite as the company that they will procure such technology from? And why did they identify Cognite? Were they aware or not aware that Cognite is already a blacklisted company that is identified as a cyber mercenary company whose services and tools have been used to target journalists and human rights campaigners around the world? If so, if they know that this company's services and tools are used to muzzle free speech and violate the rights of citizens, why did they pay such amount of money to this company? Who made the decision to hire that? And how were the decisions made? What is the role of Parliament in this process? Was Parliament unaware? And now that Parliament has been made aware of the situation, what are they going to do? Are they going to remain silent or keep quiet about it? So these are the things then. Questions around procurement, irregularities or secret operations. Is the government authorized to spend public money in secrecy? Is the government allowed to do that? Is that how they spend public money? And up and above that, is it justifiable to spend such amount of money in the procurement of surveillance technology as opposed to investing that money in meaningful social service delivery, either in healthcare, public roads, public construction, public education, you name it, or even subsidies on petroleum products and rice? These are the questions, and these are one for left with. So until we meet again next week with the follow-up to this conversation, and hopefully maybe by then we will publish this full second article where we will detail some of these issues I have highlighted. But I want me to go and think around the discussion that we've been having the last 2, almost getting to 3 hours now on these issues. So I want to thank you all. We don't sacrifice the time and the energy for listening to this conversation. And we will say more on this and provide more specific details in addition to other transactions, again, we don't track relating to this effort for more free speech. At what cost to the National Treasury and the taxpayers has the war against free speech come about? How much has it cost the government to wage a war against free speech in Sierra Leone and against dissent, against opposition, against the right of citizens to hold a different opinion? How much has it cost us? At what cost to the National Treasury has the current war against free speech don't happen? And until then, I have been your companion and friend and discussant. I promise you faithfully, after this year, by the new year, we get for publish more revealing information. I told you in the past that we are still under 25% of the evidence in our possession, and we mean that. Hopefully by then, the election rate will reach 50%. But we are here. We cannot be silenced. We cannot be silenced. Independent journalism is necessary for the development of democracy and for national economic development. And we are independent journalists. Our role is to hold leaders accountable. That is what we will continue to do. And we will do that relentlessly. And that we will decide to do. So thank you very much. And until then, my name is Cherno Alpha Emba of